Hi everybody, Tina here with Two Chicks and a Cricket, and I'm starting my Stampin' Up review. So for November and December, on Fridays, on our normally Stampin' Up Fridays, I'm going to be doing some reviews of their products. So I kind of shared with you guys during my post how I got into Stampin' Up, or why I started looking into Stampin' Up, and it was really mainly for their stamp pads. I hadn't been using stamps much, and I got into card making a little bit, and I had wanted some really good stamp pads, and as I priced them, they were really expensive in the stores. They were like $7 and $8 for a stamp pad. And of course I wanted a lot of colors and a lot of varieties, and so I looked into Stampin' Up, and their stamp pads, these stamp pads right here, are $5.95, and then you can get a re-inker for your stamp pad for $2.95, and it will last a really long time. So I started buying stamp pads, and today I'm going to make a card using cherry cobbler and a chocolate chip color stamp pad, and I'm also going to be using this stamp set, and this is the I Heart stamp set, and it is clear mounted, and so they don't have wood blocks. You just use a clear acrylic block for them. So I'm going to be using that and a couple other products. I'm going to be using some ribbon and then some Stampin' Up paper. This is just a piece of pattern paper that I picked. And this is the Stampin' Up paper. So I have a piece of Early Espresso and a piece of Very Vanilla. And that's the other thing that I really love about Stampin' Up, is you can get their stamp pads and their paper and tons of their products you can get to coordinate. So I could get a piece of cherry cobbler paper if I wanted to use that for a project. And I have always said it is super hard to find red paper. I don't know if anybody else has this problem, but I certainly have the problem finding red paper. So when I found Stampin' Up and saw that you can get their paper in a pack, just a solid color in a pack, I loved it. You can get 8.5 by 11, and I think it comes in 24 pieces. And that is super helpful when trying to do a project. So I have some Early Espresso, and I've just cut it in half. It was an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and I have cut it in half, and I'm going to make a card. So I'm just going to start by folding this, and I want to say too, I love their paper. It cuts great on the Cricut. And you guys know I love my Cricut. So it cuts really great on the Cricut. And it's good, sturdy paper. It's not white core. And I'm not a big fan of white core paper. So I really like that aspect about it. So now I just have cut from my pattern piece of paper. I cut a 4-inch strip. And I'm just going to cut little 3-inch, like 3.5. And this is going to go right here. And then I have a piece of Very Vanilla that's going to go on this side. And again, it's just cut at 4 inches. And now I'm just going to cut a 2.5-inch strip. I think. Let's see how it works. Yeah, so that'll be good. They're going to overlap a little bit, which is fine. I think I'm going to cut this down to 3 inches. Yeah, I think I like it better at 3. I'm not a fantastic card maker. It takes me a little bit longer to put together cards. Okay, so I'm going to want them to overlap a little bit. And then the next thing I'm going to do before I glue this down, I'm going to put some ribbon on it. Tied a bow and put my ribbon on that piece of patterned paper. And I've done that first so that it will be on the side. So I'm just going to lift this up a little bit and I'm going to tuck the white piece of paper right under it. So now I'm going to stamp on this. And I'm going to do a couple things. The first thing I'm going to do is take a sponge dauber and I was excited to see that Stampin' Up! Sells these sponge daubers. You can get a set of 12 of them for $10.95, and I had looked all over for these. In fact, Wendy had found some at Joann's, but she had not been excited about how expensive they were. They were like $3.95 for 3 of them. So I was excited to see that Stampin' Up! Sells these in bulk. You can get a little bit more. So I'm just gonna ink my edges, and I do this a lot. And I'm doing it in the, this is a chocolate chip stamp pad, so it's a little bit lighter than the Early Espresso. And that's I really love their brown paper as well. Their chocolate chip and their Early Espresso are really great brown colors. That's another color I often had a hard time finding. So I just inked around the edges of that. And the other thing is that Stampin' Up! Colors go really, really well with a lot of other things. Like this patterned paper, this cherry cobbler goes really well with it. And this is not a Stampin' Up! Piece of paper. So that's the other thing that I really love about Stampin' Up! And their colors is that they go really well with other items that you're already going to have in your supplies. So now I'm going to take a stamp, and I'm going to be using this one right here. And I'm going to stamp it right in the middle of this piece of paper. And their stamps are super simple to use. I personally unmount all my stamps, so the unmounted stamps don't bother me. I prefer them. So I'm just putting this right in the middle. And then I'm going to use this one right here, which is a set of 3. And I am going to stamp it on a separate sheet of paper. Actually, I'm going to use this one, it's smaller. And I'm using Cherry Cobbler. It's my favorite red ever. It's perfect for everything. And I'm going to stamp this on here. And I just grabbed a baby wipe, and I'm just going to clean these stamps off really quick. Super simple. And now I'm going to cut these out, each of them out, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do next. Alright, so I have my 3 stamps that I just cut out, and I'm just gonna put these down on the paper. I'm not a huge fan of cutting stuff out, but every once in a while it doesn't hurt. And because I used, there we go, and because I used very vanilla paper to stamp my stamps on and then cut out, they look like they're just stamped right on the paper, which is fine. So then I have one more stamp that I want to do. And I'm going to put this saying right above and this is not a Stampin' Up stamp. This is just a random stamp I had. And then I'm going to put this card together. So I'm putting this right under here's my card, and I really love the way it turned out, and I really enjoy using Stampin' Up products and being able to coordinate all my papers. You guys know I'm a matchy kind of person, so I love matching all my stuff, and Stampin' Up makes it super easy to be able to coordinate your projects. So that is one of the reasons I love their stamp pads and their paper, and it's really a great it's really great. So if you guys try it out, just order a pack of 8.5 by 11 paper, you know, in a color you always use, or in, you know, a very vanilla color that you can stamp on, just to try it out, and you'll fall in love with it. So you guys know you can always order directly from Wendy. I give you guys that information at the bottom of these posts. So thanks for stopping by, and next Friday we're going to be trying out another stamp set. It's going to be this stamp set right here, pretty postage stamp set, and we're going to be doing a review of their punches. So this punch coordinates with this stamp set right here, and that's what we're going to be trying out next week. So thanks guys for stopping by the blog.